Our next guest is no stranger to startups. He's been involved in 4 very prominent ones, including the launch of the discount airline JetBlue. Now he's trying to do the same thing in Latin America. David Neeleman is the founder and chairman of Azul Brazilian Airlines. He's live at the Bloomberg Link event in Sao Paulo. David, welcome to InBusiness.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
We are excited to talk to you about the airline. There's a lot of anticipation about a public offering. I know earlier you said you're not in a rush to bring Azul public, but why don't you need the capital? Where are you getting capital?
Well, we were the most highly capitalized startup in aviation history. You know, we had some very generous investors, and they put in $225 million of equity, and we're cash flow positive now. We're making money. We're building cash, you know, every month. We have great financing deals through our deal with Embraer, through BNDES, the local export financing bank here, as well as our deal with ATR, with the export banks at Italy and France. So we're financing the operation. We're cash flow positive. But at some point in time, you know, we want to raise some additional capital, take advantage of some opportunities that we think exist here. And then our shareholders obviously need to have an exit. So, but it's good not to have to go public. That's a good feeling.
So you wouldn't have to for what, 1 to 2 years?
I don't think we'd have to for really ever if we wanted to, but you know, it just depends on how much opportunities we want to have to take advantage of, and eventually, you know, our investors have to have an exit. So that's really the driving factor at some point in time. They're patient, but you know, there's obviously a limit to their patience.
There's a lot of excitement about the emergent consumer in Brazil, such a vibrant brick. But talk to me about the pressures that you're feeling because of rising fuel prices. How are you hedging? How are you offsetting that?
Well, you know, we're praying. You know, we have a deal with Petrobras directly, where we have contracted rates throughout the rest of this year. It's a great way to do it. We kind of approached Petrobras and said, look, why don't we just take today's price or take the curve, and we'll do a hedge directly between us. It won't affect our balance sheet. And they were good for it, and so we've hedged a pretty good portion of what we're buying through the end of this year. You know, it's just, I think Brazil's a market that can probably take a price increase, maybe more than in the United States, because we have a lot of demand. But we're hoping that things get resolved in Libya. We get a little pullback on the oil price. You know, and there's some exciting developments down here. You know, down the road with biodiesel. We're doing a test with Amyris, flying their biodiesel product in one of our jets. And if there's anywhere in the world that biodiesel works, it's here in Brazil, because everything grows here so well.
Well, that would be amazing to watch. But talk to me. I'd love to know where you bought that oil supply, that fuel supply at Petrobras. But when you look at the possibility of the consumer being able to stomach a fare increase, what does that say to you about the growth? I mean, are you going to have to pull back your growth projections in Brazil right now?
You know, we're talking about, with the increase we've had in fuel, we're talking about a $10 per fare increase. It's not a lot. You know, the exciting part about Brazil is that we're flying into markets that have very little service, where people have been forced to drive up to 4 hours to get to the closest airport. Cities that have a catchment area around the city of 1 million people. So we're developing these markets, so we're getting people to fly they haven't flown before. We're getting people to fly a lot more often. And so it's a huge economic engine to the development of this country. And we're going to be in 50 cities by the end of this year, flying 50 airplanes. So a $1 billion company, I don't know, could be this year, in 3 years. So the opportunity is absolutely enormous here. Not without its challenges. I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to do, but the opportunities here is much greater than that I even had in the United States with JetBlue.
Wow, and you've got the World Cup and you've got the Olympics to ramp up expansion for. So we'll keep track of how you do with that, David. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye.